How many people heard about this Republican lawmaker that claims that her father was a slave? I need everybody to start laughing and pointing all at once. Some Karen some Karen says that her father was a slave. Where? At the brothel? Now, we're not talking about what your mom and your dad did when your dad would dress up in the leather and your mom would have the little whip. We're not talking about that type of slave. She claims her dad was a slave. I wonder what plantation he worked at. Let's see what she's talking about, shall we? A white Republican state representative made the shocking claim that her father, a white man born in the 1930s, was a slave. A Kentucky state representative, Jennifer Decker, made the comment while trying to dismiss the intention behind diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Ms. Decker, who is 68, spoke at a February 1st NAACP meeting discussing a state education bill she is sponsoring that would ban DEI initiatives, according to the Courier-Journal. The bill would defund any training or scholarships associated with DEI. While speaking at the NAACP event, Ms. Decker claimed DEI initiatives were unnecessary because her father was a slave but worked his way to success. I need y'all to spam the chat with some laughing emojis, man. I need y'all to spam the chat with some laughing emojis. Let me ask you guys this. Is anybody surprised? Who's actually surprised by this? Please don't tell me that you're shocked or surprised or anything. Ain't no way anybody's surprised by this. There's no way anybody's surprised by this. Is anybody, if you're surprised by this, give me a thumbs up. If you're not surprised by this, give me a thumbs down. We need to investigate this further, shall we? We need to make fun of her and her entire family. Oh man, this is they got it behind a paywall. I'll put it to the side. I'll put it to the side. And as soon as I unlock that paywall, we definitely gonna roast this lady and her slave daddy. She said her father was a slave. Just to a white man, and he was white, she said. Her comment was a response to an individual asking her a question about her family's role in the slave trade, according to the Daily Beast. Despite being born nearly 70 years after slavery was abolished in the U.S., Ms. Decker insisted that her father was born on a dirt farm and that his mother was the illegitimate child of a very prominent person who then was kind enough to allow them to work for him as slaves. And that was kindness. That was kindness. Now, mind you, you're free. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'll be kind enough to capture you and let you work for me. Make sure y'all show Tedra some love. Tedra's the one that provided me this article. Make sure y'all show her some love. Throw some radiation emoji and some flames in the chat. Yeah, what is a dirt farm? Where you grow dirt? Ms. Decker later, look at this. Ms. Decker later told the Courier-Journal that her father was essentially the same as a slave because he was born poor and worked on someone else's land. That's the same as a slave? That's what Ms. Decker thought. Ms. Decker thought that that's the same as a slave. Let's get to consensus, court of public opinion. All hands on deck here. All hands on Decker. If that's the same as a slave, ladies and gentlemen, please give me a thumbs up in the chat. If that's not the same as a slave, well, then by all means, give me a thumbs down or an angry face. My father was a child and his family all worked there, she said. She later admitted calling her father a slave was probably too much, noting that her father did not experience the same abuses that enslaved black people endured. Well, then why just say it? Why just say it then, lady? Why just say it? Does this sound like a party that wants you to be a part of it? Now, let me ask you guys a question. What do you think Trump said about this Karen? Do you think he checked her? How many of y'all think that Trump checked this Karen? If you guys think that he did, give me a thumbs up. If you guys think that he didn't, give me a thumbs down. Man, California got a big problem with taking black people's land, don't they? Ms. Decker also admitted that her family hadn't been kidnapped from their homes and shipped across the ocean to do work. Ms. Decker's claims were widely mocked on social media, and she should be, this is her face, she should be mocked in here. Give it your worst. A white slave in the mid-20th century. Talk about recreating history. University of Louisville Pan-African Studies professor Dr. Ricky L. Jones said on Twitter, maybe this makes sense in the alternate supremacist reality that is Kentucky, but nowhere else. Jennifer Decker and her Republican friends lie and distort everything else. Why not this? And that's facts. Republicans have railed against DEI initiatives claiming that they offer unfair advantages to people who are not white or straight, who are immigrants, or who are differently abled. The language of Ms. Decker's House Bill 9 claims the initiatives make secondary education divided, more expensive, and less tolerant. Louisville Public Media reports. So that's just more proof. Like I be trying to tell people, they'll just say anything.